We go, break it down, Reggie. Yeah, Jurgle's here. You're out of a job, Urkel. Fuck you down. All right, what's up? So it's Garson. Welcome back. We are gonna glaze the hell out of Death Domain. Why? Because I really like it. All right, so I'm gonna dive right into it. A big thank you to you guys for watching. Hopefully you can survive till the end. I don't know how long this is gonna go. I really don't care, so strap in. Thank you for watching. If you want to support the channel, just watch the whole video. I promise it'll entertain, but as my usual, we're going to dive into notes real quick and just follow along on the right-hand side, skip around, and honestly, if you're just interested in some build ideas, A-okay with me, skip to this section, okay? I'm going to do my usual breakdown on something, but let's get into some topics here. Again, thank you so much for watching. Let's talk and maybe even glaze this subclass. Here we go. So patch 8 questions. This is all subject to change. Patch 8 stress test is literally what we're on right now. As usual, the top left flashing. So things are subject to change and did change after I did play my Death Domain run. But I am answering your questions based on the new patch, trying to help you guys out, pay it forward. Thanks to you guys, I have access, so I'm trying to answer your questions, and I know it's hard to wait for the patch to come out. Hopefully it comes out soon, right? So today, though, we're just going to, while I compile your questions, feel free to ask them in the comments, but today is just going to be the subclass breakdown, and it's front-loaded with talking, so warning, okay? As usual, I'm going to do a brief summary on what class we're talking about here, and then you can build off of the subclass, right? So Reggie here is a full cleric, right? And so clerics are full casters. That means they do get all the way up to level 6 spell slots, right? And that's pretty important when like mixing, multi-classing into other caster spells or half casters or no casters. This is going to determine how many. The reason that's important is because you can upcast the very powerful inflict wounds, potentially really high level, really high damage here, right? Or you can just get really powerful spells like maybe the contagion. Contagion's actually pretty strong, okay? So depending on being able to get up to these higher level spell slots, it could be really impactful, right? But they are wisdom casters. What I can say about wisdom casting is there's some caveats here. Of course, this does mean it determines your spell difficulty class, and it does determine your spell attack rolls, similar to your weapon attack rolls there. But wisdom has some pretty cool stuff. On your saving throws, assuming you're the one being hit with a spellcaster, right? Wisdom saving throws are really, really important in this game. They're very common, and some of them are extremely dangerous. A lot of them are. You do not want to be hit with a hold person spell, for instance. This could lead to instant critical hits against you. You do not want that. And so it's nice to know your spellcasting proficiency is also your spellcasting modifier, right? So you get some bonuses to not getting hit with those spells while also being a good caster using wisdom. And there's some unique dialogue options. I'm not going to talk about those a lot, but depending on your god and being a cleric, you actually get advantage on certain dialogues. So in honor mode, it's actually sometimes, especially your first outing, it's really nice to find that some dialogue options allow you to skip battle altogether, get the experience points anyway, and as a good death cleric, you can double dip and kill everybody for even more experience. So just something to think about. Now, known spells, when we're talking about known spellcasters, you know all of your spells. So you literally you don't pick and choose, you already get all of them. And then when you're out of combat, you can say, I don't really want Protection Evil, or hey, I think Banishment's really good, I'm going to swap it for this fight, and so on and so forth. I find that this is a great way to learn spellcasters, so I think clerics are one of my top recommendations if you don't understand spellcasting, want to get a hang of it. Just go all in on a 12 caster, but I think Death Domain might actually be up your alley if you've never done a spellcaster, and we'll get into why. So that helps out with learning spellcasting or just being a good spellcaster. Channel Divinity is a short rest resource. You get back on short rest, right? And there's always going to be, I think, the Turn Undead feature. So you get to use this basically once, like once for every channel divinity charge you have, but you'll also have a feature exclusive to the spell, the subclass or domain, and for our case it's going to be Touch of Death. So I wanted to highlight that every subclass kind of has their own unique version of what to do with this resource, and they come back on short rest, but you do have the little Turn Undead feature, okay? So Divine Strike at level 8. Sometimes for other subclasses this could be Potent Cantrip. For today's purposes, we get Divine Strike. Most clerics get this at level 8. It's a weapon attack. You can manually do it or use it on reaction, as you can see here. So this adds a little, necrotic damage in our case. But moving on, there's also choose a deity. Again, like the dialogue I was talking about. I don't have much to talk about here. There are specific dialogue options. It's fun for role-playing. I don't know how strong this is in terms of dialogue abuse, you know, playing through honor mode or something, but something to think about. RP option. It's fun. I think we chose Grumash with Reggie here. Yeah. So, just something to think about. And also another thing to think about, not coming from me, not trying to spread misinformation, but allegedly Shar is actually just the Selune goddess, her inner intrusive thoughts. Okay, so they're actually one and the same. I didn't say that. All alleged, totally not misinformation. I think, you know, could be true. Who knows? Prove me wrong, bro. Proficiencies. You get medium armor as a cleric no matter what. I know there's a little more nuance to this, but even if you multi-class into this, you're going to get medium armor. You're going to get shields. You're already off to a good start for armor class there. And a lot of options on gear. And then flails and clubs, which isn't the best options, but okay. So Divine Intervention at level 10. Again, I don't have much to input here. Every cleric at level 10, you have to go 10 levels into your cleric to get this, and there's 4 exclusive options, and they're once per game. Okay, they can be powerful game changers, like a big smite for everybody in the area, or a big revival, big HP heal, but just go check them out. I don't really have much to say, and it's not that relevant to the Death Domain, to be honest. Spell highlights here. Okay, so Sanctuary is one of the biggest reasons I say, if you've never done honor mode, put a cleric on your team. This effectively makes you immortal or immune to all damage. Not immune to all damage. Let's make the record straight. You just can't be targeted for 10 turns, but there's easy ways to abuse that and use that. And this could just, on the most basic usage, keep you alive. And it's only a level 1 spell slot. So it's a bonus action. You can literally attack people and then just cast this on you and go, okay. But it could keep your butt safe and help you experiment in honor mode, learning the game. Spirit Guardians is also pretty much an exclusive to clerics. There's ways to get this, but let's just pretend there isn't. So Spirit Guardians, pretty good. You have an option between Radiant, Necrotic. It spins around you for 10 turns. It's a concentration spell. It's pretty powerful, especially the Radiant set is very popular. Enhance abilities. Is good for dialogue checks and some other stuff, wherever the heck it is. So enhance ability is pretty good. You can, you know, give advantage to a certain stat. So dialogue checks or ability checks could be easier. And from there, there's freedom of movement. Not exclusive, neither of these are. But freedom of movement can keep you from being paralyzed. It's actually pretty good for a long rest, no concentration, all-day spell. Very powerful, very helpful. Planar Ally, you can get the Cambion or the Deva or whatnot, a Genie. That's pretty good for a level 6 spell, summon. And then Animate Dead is something crucial we're going to talk about today. So, it's very important for necromancers to understand how to use this properly, and upcasting and spell slots definitely plays into that. What's these stars though? Why do you highlight Inflict Wounds? We'll talk about it. Inflict Wounds is very powerful. Please note, level 1 spell that does 3d10. What does that mean when we upcast it? Let's take a look. Oh wow, it's a 8d10 melee spell attack. That means it can critically hit for 16d10. That's insane. Okay, so pay attention to that. It's melee spell attack. Okay, so subclasses. Consider what you give up. When I do these breakdowns, I'm saying not consider that you're giving up the best or worst subclass. You can't take the other best subclass in the class. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you literally cannot mix these domains, these subclasses. So if you wanted to mix like Death Domain and get Vampiric Touch, and then go into Life Cleric, and then you can get the double healing on spells or whatever, it doesn't work that way. Even if that possible that combo interacts with each other, you'll never know, because you literally give up the ability to get Life Cleric when you choose this, okay? So keep that in mind, especially when I'm rating this subclass and glazing it. Death Domain, level 1. Let's actually dive into what you're getting with level 1. I'll try and spell out or point out the spells too. Level 1, you get martial weapons. Oh, there's those stars again. Okay, martial weapons, you can now use any weapon you want. You can use melee weapons like Baldur's Greatsword. You can use Hellrider Bow. You can use any weapon just about with martial proficiency, so that's cool at level 1. Right? Another thing is Reaper. As a passive, you can now use your cantrips, and any necromancy cantrip, doesn't matter if it comes from wizard or sorcerer or whatever, or even the Death Domain, it will now be able to target 2 separate targets. This got quote-unquote fixed. I wish they would revert it back so I could target the same guy, but you can no longer do that. So subject to change, like I said, but you can hit 2 people with any of your necromancy cantrips, okay? So that means Toll of the Dead or Ratmancers love blowing up rats, 2 different rats at the same time, right? So passive cantrips can target 2 separate targets at the same time, 2 for 1. Spells, you also get False Life. Bone Chill is a cantrip you do have to choose. This is not always prepared. Want to keep that in mind. But you do get False Life and Ray of Sickness, and it's always prepared up here, by the way. So Ray of Sickness and Blindness, that's pretty good. Or not Blindness, what is it? False Life, yeah. Level 2, we get our Channel Divinity charge. So Channel Divinity charges, like I said, come back on short rest. The special feature for Death Domain is Touch of Death. Please ignore the dice roll numbers. This is always maxed out. There is no dice involved with this. It's a reaction, not the resource. You can do this as many times as you have Channel Divinities in one turn. Okay, it costs 1 Divinity charge. Right? And it's melee, any kind. Could be melee weapon, could be unarmed attack, which we'll see. And then it could also be a spell attack, you know, like inflict wounds. Oh, there's those stars again. Okay? So it adds 2 times your cleric level plus 5 necrotic damage. It's always going to be a fixed damage based on this calculation. To put things simple, it's just whatever cleric level you've been getting up to, take that, multiply it by 2, and add 5. Ta-da! Okay, it always does that damage, and it has to be activated on it's a follow-up to any melee attack, okay? It can't be hit on its own. But it can be used more than one time if you have more than one Channel Divinity available, okay? So, or I should say, it can be used once per hit, and then you can hit him again that same turn, and then be used again if you have more Channel Divinity. You'll see what I mean. So, level 3 spells, Blindness, and Ray of Enfeeblement. Once again, these are always prepared. Right here. So, Ray of Enfeeblement and Blindness are level 2 spells, always available to you. Blindness is actually really good. It can blind people, making them harder to hit you. And they have to run up to the melee range to do that. Meanwhile, everybody gets advantage on their attacks. Ray of Enfeeblement can literally cut damage, weapon damage in half for a target. Level 5 spells, big one, Animate Dead. So, Animate Dead is extremely important to understand. What makes a good necromancer is usually Animate Dead. The more you can upcast this, the better it gets, okay? But we'll talk about it. Vampiric Touch is also a cool one. You can basically cast this one time and have 10 turns of concentration and just keep slamming people and hitting them with a vampiric touch, right? Which is very important because that's all necrotic damage, isn't it? So in Inescapable Destruction, there's those stars again. So spells you can cast ignore necrotic resistance. That's not necessarily true. Let's look at it. It says spells you can cast ignore resistances to necrotic damage, but you can see that any type of necrotic damage I do ignores resistances. Now, any necrotic damage. This could be a bug based on the description. They're telling me one thing, it's not. Okay, but honestly, and I'm not a tabletop guy, I don't really care what the rules are on tabletop, but this literally says on tabletop should be like the way I'm talking right now. That means any necrotic damage you do should be ignored, ignore resistances. And currently that's the way it works. I hope they don't fix this quote-unquote bug. Hope it's intended, all right? Because it really should be, and it's why this is such a fun subclass. Level 7, spells, Blight and Death Ward. Okay, again, these are prepared. Death Ward will keep you alive if you get knocked down to 1 HP. I don't think it stacks with other effects, by the way. But I think it literally just revives you. I forget how it works. Anyway, Blight is a pretty powerful spell that gets like max damage against, what is it? Plants, and then I think undead have, disadvantage or something like that. Alright, so Blight, pretty strong. It's max damage against plants, and they have disadvantage against it. Level 8, Divine Strike. I told you there's a lot of talking. Divine Strike, necrotic. So there we go. Level 8, this is a manual feature that will use your weapon, either ranged or melee weapon attack damage, and then add on a 1d8, which of course is now ignoring the resistances to necrotic, okay? And then you can also use it as a reaction. Now this is only once per turn, but you can think of it as like a free little smite, and there is a little trick to it we'll get into later. But it's a reaction, not a resource reaction, but just rides on top, or you can manually use it right here with a button. takes your weapon attack, adds some necrotic damage to it, okay? And finally, level 9 gives you the powerful fart cloud that is Cloud Kill. So Cloud Kill is very powerful. Contagion can really mess somebody's day up. If this goes through, it can really have some numerous nasty effects. I think if I click on it, you can see there's a whole bunch of options. But we're not here to talk about all that, okay? So these are always prepared as well. I put out, after running a full level 12 Death Cleric on Honor Mode, I gave it an A+ rating. Why did I do that? Go watch the video. Anyway, jokes aside, this is a meaningless later grade. If you catch my sense of humor, I don't like ranking videos. I think there's... whatever, who cares my opinion on that? But I did give it a letter rating just to kind of get the point across. Clearly he likes it, clearly he glazes it, but why? It's not about being the bestest, okay? I don't really care if there's a stronger subclass or a better subclass in terms of damage or making the game easy mode. What I care about is, in one sense, style, another sense mechanics, in another sense, after playing it on Honor Mode rule set, how did I feel playing through just the level 12 Cleric? What could it do on its own? And I felt like, dang, I'm already getting ideas of what I could do with this, and I just wanted to hit people really hard with Inflict Wounds and Necrotic Strike and Death, Touch of Death, and I already have ideas of how to run this, and I know they'll work because I'm playing it, right? So how it interacts with the base kit, the class, this is why I do breakdowns this way. Right, what Cleric's bringing to the table is automatically for every Cleric, you always get Inflict Wounds, okay? But maybe none of them really cater to this playstyle, and it's just a really strong spell. Now, I gave you some clues with these stars, and you can probably see how I like that the subclass invites you or clues you in to how it's going to interact with the class's base kit anyway. It's going to add some things in there and clue you in. Oh, you can use any weapon now, like a big fat greatsword. Cool. Oh, Touch of Death. Oh, when I hit somebody with a melee attack or spell, I can blow my load and pop something, and it doesn't even use my, valuable spell slots, and it comes back on short rest. Okay, game. Divine Strike. Oh, that's cool. I can manually Divine Strike somebody, hit this guy, and damn, does this look cool. It's also an overhead slash, we'll watch it. But then when I hit him with this, my weapon damage, my necrotic Divine Strike, I can then pop them with a guaranteed flat 29 damage. Like, whew. And it can't be the resistances don't matter? Are you kidding me? Inflict Wounds. This is the Inflict Wounds subclass. This is a rare spell to acquire anyway. There's a few ways to get it, but really it's just on Clerics. Okay, but there's nothing really catering to it to make it the best it can be. Now you ignore resistances. Now you could pop off some flat 29 damage on it. And then you get really good necromancy spells like Blindness. You already have Hold Person to just, go up to him and inflict wounds. And now you can be the best you can be with this. I call it the Green Smite because if you hit this and pop this off, man, it's just nothing else like it. And it was a crowd pleaser. Everybody loves Reggie now. Okay? But you can also ignore what I just said and focus on some other great focal points. So a subclass is really enhancing the class, or maybe, no, before we even talk about multi-classing, I'm going to show you 4 different ideas for characters. They have some multi-classing in them, but I told you I was thinking while playing Reggie, man, just 12 levels of Cleric, and I can already think of maybe a focus on using Reaper with the double cantrips, right? Unfortunately, we can't target the same target, but this is really reliable spell attack damage. You could do the same thing with Toll the Dead. Okay, you can target 2 guys with this. You can blow up corpses and rats with this, okay? So you could really focus in on that passive feature, okay? And then use the ignore resistances and have a powerful cantrip attacker. You could have a Touch of Death, right? There's different ways to take it. Obviously, you saw how I wanted to use it with Inflict Wounds and Necrotic, but you could also be doing something like a Vampiric Touch build and getting more damage out of that, and that just feels really great. Ignore resistances means this is like the one time, maybe not the one time, but this is the one time I wanted to use Spirit Guardians with necrotic damage, and it can't be ignored, right? And I'm doing a bunch of other necrotic damage. So this ignore resistances could play into a bunch of different ideas. If you just like necromancer spells, you got everything on the book, and it's not even prepared. It's always prepared for you, right? False Life, Ray of Sickness, whatever. If you think any of these are really good, you get all of them basically, plus Inflict Wounds, plus Harm and all, whatever. Okay, so they're all here, including the animate dead and mummy spells. So if you want to be a necromancer, this is very hard to beat because you have access to create undead, you have access to animate dead, you have access to aid, so you can actually boost the HP on these stupid crappy zombies anyway. Okay, so weapon focus is possible, spell focus is possible. There's two types of spell focuses. Do you want to use the utility spells of blindness, hold spells, this and that and that and that, especially the ones that come from necromancy? It's all here, buddy. Do you want to use blade barrier, set up this wall of death? Do you want to put these plague insects down and control a battlefield? Like, we got it all. We got it all, and it feels really great to play. And you can even be the necromancer, and I've done videos on necromancy, we'll talk about it, but let me just dive into some of the examples showing that after you get this sense of, oh, that's what he likes about it, that's why he rates it so highly. Yeah, I could build this guy so many different ways, and then we'll talk about multi-classing, because there's definitely one I really want to talk about, this one right here. So Reaper could be for instance, if you took some of the focus points here I was just talking about, and you said, well, I want to use Reaper to use a cantrip build. Okay, I want to use Touch of Death on a build so that I can have Touch of Death incorporated into my melee strikes. Maybe I want to ignore the resistances. Now I get 2 Touch of Deaths. Now I can use Animate Dead, you know, if that's what you want to do. Or do you just go more into Cleric, and then once you're at level 8, you got the Necrotic Strike. Maybe you go Paladin, you get like an Oathbreaker, whatever. But all, look at what I just see as I progress into this subclass ideas, and I look at it this way. If I'm on a highway, I can jump off the exits here. Oh, I love being on I Death Cleric 95 and just going down the road. But you know what? I want to take a detour right here at level 2, get off the exit and go into Monk or something like that, right? Do you see what I'm saying? This is kind of why I just say simplify. This is my opinionated take, but like, if you can do it with the class, just stay in the class, man. And the subclass is so good because it can do that. But then, if it can offer some really unique stuff into multi-classing. So, before I get into this guy, let's Reggie. Alright, now we can have some fun with build time. Sorry about that. So remember that I'm focusing on those elements or focuses from earlier. Reggie was literally in the new subclasses only run 1. We just did it. We finished it. I made playlists recently. Go check him out. He's a fan favorite now. It's the Reggie run for a reason, okay? These are builds. These are not just build ideas. I definitely ran this one, and I'm going to run probably 2 more if you see, once you see him, okay? So Reginald, more green smites Macbeth. This guy was awesome. He executed my idea perfectly, and then while I was playing I was like, man, I really could have been more of a necromancer, or I could have been more of a cantrip caster, blah blah blah, but I was having fun playing with Reggie. Now the reason Reggie is so fun is because if, say, your target was held down, right, and if you had a teammate who could like speed you up with a speed potion, or a haste rather, right, then you get to use Divine Strike, Necrotic, go up to this guy and be like, good day, sir.
Murdered someone.
Good day, sir. Insane. Okay, that was fun. Okay, I could also do that with Inflict Wounds. Let's have somebody demonstrate. Come on down, Murphy. I hate the way you throw weapons. Whee! Gale, you enjoying it? Whee! He keeps flying. Okay. And then we'll have Aronson come over here, and both of these guys are going to get it pretty dirty. Sorry, guys. Break's over. Dun, 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 dun. Alright, so Gale's pretty good at doing this. We'll upcast it. This is what I'm talking about. Having this nasty combo. There we go. Oh, he resisted. Fine. A-okay with me. What I'm going to do is, especially when there's hold spell and you guarantee the critical hit and the accuracy, go up to level 6 and watch how stupid this is. Ooh, 77 damage. Now, I could have also, if he didn't just die right there, I could have also just added some more damage onto it. So, if I can get this hit in, hopefully I can, I'm just going to use a level 1 to see some damage, right? Can you hit him? Cool. Touch of Death. Boom! Reggie, green smites Macbeth. Okay, This was fun. I freaking love this, and I still have the paladin bug, the smite bug rather. I'm currently playing Oath of the Crown and love smiting, but this is a whole nother way to try that gameplay if that's what you want to do. The fact that this is possible is, oh man, it's simple, it's satisfying, and then you're just like, nah bro, you can't target me, I'm sanctuaried, lol. That's ridiculous. But yeah, I've already made a video about green smites. It was funny right before I got access to patch 8 to see that this does indeed work, and I played through the whole game like this. This was fun as hell, okay? I'll just leave it at that. Go watch Reggie's run, man. Okay, so I did a video even talking about this. Inflict wounds or divine strike, comboing with Touch of Death just feels amazing. Critting with wounds is insane. You may only have one attack, but make it count, or use a team that can haste you, right? Spirit Guardians can also be used, but I'm not going to show that here. You could actually use this idea to use Sentinel and pull Arm Master. And so when you get a reaction attack that actually uses your reaction, you can actually Touch of Death off of that, right? So you could lock them down by slowing them with Spirit Guardians. They take damage around you, they get stuck in you when they try to run away from you inevitably. You hit them with Sentinel, now they can't run away. They take more damage from Spirit Guardians, and then on their turn, even though you have only one attack on your turn, you get another Sentinel attack and lock them down in Spirit Guardians while doing Touch of Death. That's cool as hell, okay? Just another way to take it. So honestly, I would have liked that I went the strength elixir route to get 27 strength and have really good accuracy, and then use my wisdom, just buffed up my wisdom for locking people down with, you know, what is it, hold spell or blindness or something. But whatever, do it better than I did. I still had tons of fun with this. Reliable range cantrip is nice, okay? You have blindness, so you could blind people, making your accuracy better. I didn't really want to use summons, but I could have. Like I said in that video, I could make this guy a Death Knight. That's why I took Kethric's armor. I mean, tell me you're not going to try this. Okay, so Blade Barrier is fun. Insect, I literally use this. Gortash got wrecked by Blade Barrier. Orin got wrecked by Insect Plague. And everybody just loves when more Reggie just smite him. Okay? Tons of fun. So, Reggie, you're awesome. All right, next up, I definitely want to run this. This is a full build. If you want to see how to do it, I'm going to explain this. This is the Way of the Death Touch, okay? It's an open hand build first, and then it evolves into a Death Touch open hand kind of. This is a character build that actually mechanically works. And for those who are interested, no, we're not using Tavern Brawler, Strength Elixirs, and we're on Final Destination, okay? This is just Dexterity and Wisdom, and we can focus mostly on Wisdom, by the way. We get a boost of Dexterity from the Cat Cloth. You're good to go for the rest of the game. Do not change this out, okay? And now you can just go all in on Wisdom, because Wisdom does a lot for us in this build. You get these necrotic punches at level 6 that get stronger with your Wisdom, by the way. And from level 7 onward, you would evolve into a Death Cleric, and you're going to feel really satisfied by the end of it. At level 12, you're having this complete feeling, right? So Death Touch does work on unarmed attacks, like Flurry of Blows or Irregular Punch. So you literally have a Death Touch Way of Hand monk. It's not going to be as strong as a Cleric level 12, but you are a Cleric level 6 by the end of this road, and it's going to feel really awesome. I'll show you an amazing combo, okay? But hand offers bonus Wisdom necrotic damage, so we have like stupidly high necrotic damage coming out of our Wisdom, and with these boots we also get more bludgeoning damage from Wisdom. We get armor class when we're not wearing armor or shields, right? We have the enhanced movement from Monk Open Hand, or just Monk from being unarmored. Okay, and you can overcome bludgeoning resistances at level 6, so you're pretty much good for the rest of the game. You're allowed to now take your time evolving into the Death Cleric, okay? So level 12 feels complete because you can pop 2 death reactions on 1 Flurry of Blows, which is kind of wild, all right? To demonstrate, let's see if I can get this right. We'll get into some combat here, annoy somebody. How about you? Can hit this and pop. Okay. Come on over. Come on. I'm gonna demonstrate. Thank you, Murphy. Alright, so obviously you should have some decent initiative too because of your dexterity. Alright, so again, that's a lot of damage right there. There's actually a trick to use Rhapsody in your offhand for even more. And the Hell Dust Gloves, Helldust Gloves actually apparently bleed things when you use them on an unarmed attack, but we're just here for the necrotic damage that cannot be resisted at level 6. So level 12, you're going to feel like, damn, I can't be resisted. I do all this extra damage, and I get 2 death touches, maybe even 3 if you have the amulet here. Okay, this gives you another death touch, so to speak. But I love this idea here. So naturally, again, you could use your main action and lock somebody down. Okay? Because you're focused on wisdom, it's going to have a high accuracy anyway. And then you can just go up to somebody and flurry of blows. Right? And you can even death touch with this. That's so freaking cool. Okay? And forget the, you know, BS of hold person for a moment. Obviously have you or a team do that. It's really strong. But you are literally a half caster. You have spirit guardians, you have blindness. Like you can use a lot of those utility necromancy spells here. Right? And it just it feels like you get to like evolve your open hand monk in a really unique playstyle, and this can't happen any other way than, you know, Death Cleric. So, assuming this guy does not die, what I was saying is I have 2 channel divinities, so with 1 flurry of blows I can go 1, death touch, okay, he died anyway, but in the same turn I can, assuming he didn't die, I would have punched him with flurry of blows and got another death touch. See? Dude, that is super cool. That's so cool, and then we can turn him into a zombie. Now obviously you can also have some other cool combos or interactions here. But yeah, with your actions and your bonus actions, you always have some interesting cards to play. You can punch twice. You don't have to use key points. You're a martial, level 5, extra attack. You have cantrips. You could use Bone Chill on 2 targets, remember? You could use spells like Hold Person, right? And inflict wounds, so you can literally death touch, like inflict wounds. I got it. I love this freaking multi-class. I can't wait to try this and see if it's actually as cool as I think. But you could come up to somebody with the Risky Ring. You're always going to land your punches and your inflict wounds. They benefit from the same thing. Same thing with Bone Chill. This is almost a guarantee now because of Risky Ring. Play risky. You live on the life and death edge, right? So you can come in, use a level 3, inflict wounds, death touch. Here we go. Boom. And you can just disengage with Step of the Wind. And now you have free jumps, so you can jump over to this guy, right? Get up, get ready to punch this guy too, right? So there's just a lot of cool interactions and ways to do this, especially once you're level 12 and maxed out, and it just feels powerful and fun and unique, right? So you can wounds into a flurry of blows and then start using death, or you can even Step of the Wind. Touch of Death is going to work on... Oh, the Touch of Death is literally a hold person, go into a flurry of blows with your bonus action, and use your reaction to divinity twice, and it just feels super cool. It's just... Okay, alright, stop glazing it. Hopefully you can see why I like multi-classing or even staying in the class. What about... I demonstrated in a video called Divine Sneak Attack. So this is a really good example of that. It's a fun way to use dual wielding rather than just trying to use dual wielding for the sake of swinging 2 weapons. I think this is, in my opinion, the most fun way to dual wield. Try to find unique interactions with it. There's a lot of reactions here, and it's focused on weaving casting with weapon play, okay? For instance, some of the combos, right? I may have to reload a little bit here, bear with me. Open with an offhand into a toll. So I specifically chose this because this gets a 1d8 piercing with your piddly offhand attack with no 2-weapon fighter. This isn't going to really make much damage, but with Hans and sneak attacks and death touch and all that stuff, this weapon does a little more damage when you swing on opponents that have all of their HP. It does an extra 1d8, right? So keep that in mind. If he has full HP and I go for an offhand swing, okay, I have a lot of options right here alone. I can sneak attack, I can touch of death, I can divine strike. Let's do sneak attack. Boom. Okay, so I did a decent amount of damage using that, but then because he has lowered HP, Toll of the Dead is a cantrip that gets more damage if they're already at lower than half HP, okay? Not you, dummy. Okay, so now I've used my bonus action with an offhand, I used my reaction to get a sneak attack, and now I can Toll of the Dead him and maybe one other, right? and it's going to do bonus damage if I land it to him, so that's pretty cool. Then we can zip around to the next turn. I can shield on reaction. Like I said, I have a lot of reaction choices. Thanks, Arcane Trickster. Jump down. Come on. Okay, and while this is going on, if you're Hans from Arcane Trickster, he's a permanent summon, he's invisible. Little Arcane Trickster trick here. When you're out of combat, you just move around invisibly. No one can do anything about it. Just be careful of getting hitting. So you can reposition him for setting up for another sneak attack. Sneak attack's always enabled if an ally is within 5 feet of the target, okay? Now, I know I have some other allies here, but Hans being here enables that sneak attack from earlier. So here's another combo play. Open with hold spell and use your offhand, especially if they already had, well, he's over here, isn't he? Damn. Okay. So especially if he had his full HP, we'd get a little more bonus damage there too. But all I'm getting at is you can open your turn with an action, once again, using a hold spell. There you go. And now you can use your offhand to critically hit, and even death touch or necrotic or sneak attack, critical hit. So death touch, boom, right? So I find this combo play tons of fun, and why I would play a dual wielder and try and find some cool stuff. There's even a video where I showed you could do double divine strike, where you manually, if you manually strike with the necrotic strike here, you can also get a sneak attack reaction. After that, use your offhand attack, and you'll actually get the reaction version of Divine Strike. Devs, don't delete this. I love this ability. It's honestly what clerics need. Okay, so chill out. Anyway, so bonus action utility from rogues is really nice. I could dash, I can disengage, so much more. And spell utility like hold spells, blinding, silence. You really feel like an agent of death, and Hans being invisible and setting up sneak attacks really feels like the hand of death, sneaking around determining people's fates. So again, a really cool character. With Arcane Trickster, you actually get up to level 5 spell slots, which could be really powerful, especially with, what is it, Spirit Guardians and whatnot. So we'll reload that. And the last one, I'm not really going to demonstrate the necromancy here. Just know what I really find fascinating is he's sad. Well, what's sad? Sad is single attribute dependent. It's just a funny acronym. Okay, single attribute dependent is a nerdy way of saying I can just use wisdom. So I can only use wisdom to do melee with shilly dilly, ranged with bone chill and cantrips. I can do spells and I can use summons, right? So one stat, sort of like a warlock, I can play a Pact of the Staff is what we like to call it, joke around. So the staff is really good for necromancy. I covered necromancy a lot. I'm not going to get into it. You would want to use Circle of Bones to give your undeads some extra resistances. But what I'm getting at here is you could play a full-on necromancer, a really good one, because as a level 12 cleric, you would have your animate dead would go up to the highest upcast, and that's really important for necromancers. But that necromancer stuff aside, what's really fun about mixing these two is the symbiote and the one stat dependency. So we could use Shillelagh. Okay, we can use Shillelagh to go ahead and make my weapon for 10 turns, use wisdom for accuracy and damage, okay? And so when I have the symbiote form up from Spore Druid, right, I get a little temporary HP for survivability. My Halo of Spores, I can use a reaction as an attack and do a 2d6. And I have Bone Chill as a reliable ranged attack. And I can come up to somebody and bonk them with my staff, right? And it's pretty accurate. It does a little damage. And you can touch them with death, okay? So, it's not the strongest touch of death, but it's a lot of fun. I have Sanctuary, I have Druid spells, I have free zombies, right? So Symbiote gives me extra necrotic damage on my weapon attacks. Shillelagh comes from Druid, lets me use my staff as a pretty reliable bludgeoning weapon with all this extra necrotic damage. So, and being a good necromancer just involves having the upper spellcast, the full spellcaster spell slots to use Animate Dead and Upcast, so you could actually be casting like ghouls, and you get 3 of them with the higher spell slots, okay? Then you can build your necromancer with the staff, hold spells and entangle and blind really helps these idiots land their hits so they're not useless. And you can even give them more HP because Cleric gives you aid, so you can add more HP by upcasting that. So I feel like this is a really cool necromancer because you're not just like, okay, my minions go attack. You can actually be really powerful frontline, ranged attacker, spellcaster, so much more, okay? And of course you're going to use the boner circlet. Oh, and the Mystic Scoundrel Ring. Let me see if I can demonstrate this. So Mystic Scoundrel Ring is used often to attack with a weapon and then lock somebody down with a hold spell. It's a really good combo. It's what makes the ring arguably the one of the most powerful things, or one of the most fun things at least. It's just a fun combo. It's very popular. So you can even do that on this build. Boop. Right? So if you're not a martial and you don't have 2 attacks, right? It's okay. You can still be pretty powerful because just use your single attack wisely. If I bop somebody with my touch of death, boom, he's dead. But then I can cast the hold spell, set up the next guy for the team. Yeah, we like that. Ain't going nowhere, buddy. And now all my zombie friends can go and attack them. Like Hans. Hans can guaranteed hit this guy. So get him, Hans. Yeah, hand of death, 1 HP, you're done, son. So yeah, Spore Keeper, all that stuff. Really good, and you get the free zombies once they die. You can turn this guy into a fungal zombie on reaction, whatnot. So how do you play and level these? Well, playlists. I now have playlists thanks to you guys for my honor runs. I literally try to show you on honor mode anything can beat it, and I want you to get your golden dice or try, you know, these new subclasses yourself. I know it sucks waiting, so live a little vicariously through me and watch me play through a Death Domain level 12 Cleric. Green Smites Reggie. It's the Reggie run, alright? Otherwise, just come into the live stream. We have so much fun when more people are in there. We're bouncing off each other. We're laughing at the new photo mode and whatnot. And like I said, if there's any questions or comments, or you think Garson, you just talk too much, great. I'd love to hear it. Just drop them in there. I'd love to see them. And if you have questions about any kind of mechanics and stuff, I am compiling and answering stuff in these videos, so let me know, because you guys are my sponsors. Woo, I talked a lot. Thanks for lasting this long. If you have, I appreciate you. Go out and play honor mode, please. And if you want to support the channel more, hey, membership is as low as I can make it on YouTube, so thank you for going further beyond. I appreciate you guys. I'm gonna shut up. You guys have a wonderful day, and remember, don't be afraid of death because life is worth living, or some motivational speech. Anyway, I'm Garson. Peace out. Love you.